What's up guys, it's Harry Haas here, and today I'm going to be doing a video on why tape is not the Holy Grail. I chose this topic for this week because, I felt it's probably one of the most important topics that can be discussed, I think, for a newer trader, even an older trader. It's a very, very important topic. So today I'm going to be discussing it. As always, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. This is not investment advice, even if it may seem like investment advice, purely for, quote, entertainment purposes. And so without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm gonna be laying it out on the line. I'm gonna be giving my opinions on, how I view things. So yeah. So I posted, what video topics would you like to see from me on Twitter? And it was interesting the response I got. Tape plus long setup. I've gone over multiple long setups in MIC. These obviously aren't MIC members, but I just wanted to write on Twitter, what video topics would you like to see from me? And so this guy, tape, 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 tape. Multiple people just saying, oh yeah, the tape, the tape, the tape, the tape. And I found that like almost a little bit alarming. Because of a couple reasons. Obviously there is a demand for knowledge of the tape. Obviously that there are a lot of people looking for tips on how to read the tape, but I think people are getting too caught up in thinking, wow, if I know how to read tape, I'm going to become a consistently profitable trader overnight. And I really think that type of mindset is a little bit toxic because, when you're in that type of mindset where, I'm just going to stare at the tape all day and just look for signals on the tape and, I'm going to make bank and I'm going to be trading with 20,000 just based off the tape, that to me is just, it's kind of wrong. And it's really led me to believe that a lot of people do believe that. They do believe that, they'll be able to just stare at the tape and just make money all day. And, we don't need the chart, we just need the tape. And, I've gotten DMs from a lot of people saying like, I don't really trade the chart. I just try and look for signals on the tape. And, that's really hard because HFTs may chop you up. So basically when I think about the tape, when I think about my approach to trading, I'm using it with my plan. So I'm only looking for the tape to confirm my plan. I'm not looking for signals. Every trade you see from me is not from signals off the tape. It's using the lines in conjunction with the tape. But I'm going to stress to you that 95% of my trades are just based off the lines anyway. I come into the market with a plan every day, and I just wanted to reiterate this, so many times. I'm using it with the lines, using it with the lines, using it with the lines, and I'm not trying to wing it off the tape. And, that is a discussion that I think, that needs to be said. I'm going to get into some examples later, but, that's probably the biggest one, is I'm not trying to just go into the market and, try and long a fading stock with, a bunch of dilution and a bunch of, I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm not trying to long on backside, breaching death line where all the longs are trapped and it's just excess supply. You can look for all the signals you want, but in those type of situations, you're probably not going to be getting the long you want. So in that type of scenario, I'm not gonna waste my time, and I'm just gonna use tape with my plan. So the problems. And, as I've said before, I think, too many gurus are saying they only use tape. So what I've been seeing a lot of is, Jimmy had a successful trade today because he learned how to trade off the tape. And what that does to everyone else is they're like, oh shit, how can I be like Jimmy? How can I learn how to trade and be so consistent like Jimmy? Oh, if Jimmy's using the tape, then I need to be using the tape. And everyone kind of gets on this little train. It's like, a little virus that spreads, and everyone's like, oh, well, he uses the tape, I use the tape. We got to be learning the tape. and they throw their plan, their process, simple logic just out the window. And that's another really big problem to me because again, when you're looking at a stock, if you're a long trader, then that's what I am. If you're a short trader, it works the exact opposite. I'm not trying to long a stock that is, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not trying to long a stock where there's no long setup. And it's just like shorting. You're not going to try and short. Well, maybe you are, but I'd advise against it. You're not going to try and short a massive, front side, float rotated stock. You just probably won't. So, that is just my 2 cents. I think that it's been exploited. I think it's been used as a marketing tool. I think that a lot of people are saying, oh, I got to learn how to read the tape. That's the only thing holding me back, is what I think a lot of people are thinking, is that, by not knowing how to read the tape, they're blaming their inconsistent trading on saying, oh, well, if I knew how to read the tape, that's the day I finally know how to read tape. That's the day I'm going to become a consistent trader. And, that's just not true. So again, we have too many gurus saying they only use tape. We have too much noise. We got a bunch of experts on Twitter, and that just leads to kind of a toxic concoction. So this is my old perspective on the tape when I was a newbie versus now. And I think this is really important because when I look back to when I was an inconsistent trader and when I really didn't know that much, these were some of the things that I thought, about the tape. And, people have just really started only throwing the tape around. I'd say the last, 2 years, 2.5 years. That's when I first heard a lot of chatter about the tape. Everyone's talking about the tape. Everyone's got to know, this indicator, the tape. The level 2 has been on my screen for so long. I've never heard more people talking about the tape than now. And, there might be some 20-year-old traders that are saying, everyone's been always talking about the tape. But, every single small cap trader, the minute they step into the game is like, oh, the tape, the tape, the tape. So this is my old perspective on the tape, old versus now. When I was, old, or when I was young, when I was a newbie trader, I was looking for signals. I was thinking, oh, well, if a big bid fills, that means a big buyer is going to come in and, we must be going for a 100-point squeeze. That's not going to happen. I thought consistent traders must have a hidden secret. This is their hidden secret, the tape. I thought, tape is the only thing holding me back. If I knew how to read the tape, oh, God, I'd be consistent. I'd be a millionaire. I could be owning a Lambo right now if I knew how to read the tape. Another different perspective. Tape is the number one indicator I should be using. I'm going to throw everything else out the window. I'm going to throw volume out the window. Everything. The tape is the only thing that I should be using. Not resistance and support. Not VWAP, not, basic trader psychology. No. Just tape. That's the only indicator that I should be using. Another thing that I thought, as a long trader, it will allow me to predict every squeeze. No. That's not it, right? No. If I would have gotten that opportunity if I knew how to read the tape. And a lot of these things, if we're looking at the old newbie type of perspective, these are just a lot of excuses. These are a lot of excuses. The tape is something, it's something that, it's easy to blame for your shortcomings. And it's easy to blame, anything for your shortcomings. If I had have done this, if I would have done this, Harry the Guru, that's over. We're never going to go back there because, it's just, it's not, all of these things are just not true, So here's what I think now. Now I'm using tape to confirm my plan. Now I'm using tape with my lines. Now 95% of my trading is done from technical trading. So that leaves tape for 5% if I'm even using it, right? Tape is not as important as I thought. Combining everything. I'm combining everything. So you'll see later in this example, how we combined a lot of things for a trading plan instead of just using the tape. And I remember I watched a video. It was probably, a couple years ago, and Buddy comes out and he's like, we're just using the tape. We're just using the tape. But that's just not. It's not probable, and that's just not how it works. So, is it front side or back side? Now I'm using the tape with setups and not random levels, and now I understand that looking at anything for too long can make you think your way into a trade, right? If you look at something for too long, whether it's the tape, the chart, you're going to think your way into a trade, and it might be a good trade and it might be a bad trade, but you should be planning. You should be using tape with a plan, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Is that I'm not going in and just winging it. I'm not going into the market every day, waking up at 10 and saying, "Ooh, I know how to read the tape, so I'm going to be fine today." That's not what we're doing, and I've never heard anyone preach that anyway. But just to reiterate, because you do see a lot of people, especially there's people. I've been asked questions about this, in MIC, outside of MIC, oh, what'd you see on the tape there? What'd you see on the tape there? It's like, man, take a look at the chart. Look at that, look at that resistance level that became support. Look at that support level that became resistance. All those things are very, very, very important. So this is a conversation that Bao had in After Hours a couple weeks ago, and I really, really would encourage you to pause this video and read everything that he's saying, because this is probably the best golden advice that you can get. He's talking about tape reading. It's the last thing that you should devote time to as a new trader, and he's talking about Bao is probably one of the best tape readers that I know, and he's telling you, you have to master every area before you start to get into it. And if I had to redo my own trader development, my own trader growth, I wish that someone had have said this to me a hell of a lot earlier, because when I first started I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to read the tape, I'm going to get some signals, we're going to be good, Gucci, and that's it. And it's the complete opposite now. And this is what I'm saying. At the start of this video, I said I was going to be brutally honest. So if you want, you can pause it right here. You can go over everything that Bao says in this, in his little spiel and After Hours on the weekend. And it's great advice. And I was really happy that he put that out there, because I think that there was a lot of misinformation. And so, he's basically saying kind of the same stuff that I'm saying at the moment, but it's really good for you to learn it, and it's really good for you to kind of read to pick up on some things. So yeah, if you want to pause it right here, and I'm not going to read everything word for word, there's just too much, but if you want to pause it right now, just kind of read through it, go ahead. This is another thing. So we're in chat one day, and I save things from the chat for either future videos or for stuff like that. So it was a setup a while ago with Mbot, and Alex saying, "Oh shit, hidden sellers! Did you see that?" And he's like, "I know Harry saw," but it doesn't mean I'm gonna slam the short button just because I saw a couple hidden sellers. We're just collecting information. It's adding to the conviction. So we're just getting kind of clues at that 1237 level, right? We're just paying attention. So we're always on the ball. We're always kind of watching it. We were watching kind of that 1230, 1240 level, and there did happen to be hidden sellers. But it's just something where we were kind of, watching. It wasn't like Alex is going balls deep, 20,000 shares right at that level. We're just watching and collecting information. So that's how I kind of do it. I just watch. I try and collect as much information as I can, as possible. And, that's about it. I'm just going to watch, collect information to make a trading decision. I think the best traders can see something and they don't need to press a button right away. They see a hidden seller, and you don't see, Alex slamming the button. Instead, you see Alex walking away, going to control FOMO, hidden sellers. Did you see that? And he's helping the chat and saying, this is what a hidden seller looks like, but he's not necessarily saying, all right, everyone, let's slam that short button. And I think that's really important to learn is that, the best traders they can see something and they don't necessarily need to play it. Again, we're using the tape with information. So you see Alex here, he said, notice the stacking action on Tesla. This was one of his big days on Tesla, I think. And he said, that's all the shorts trying to fill on the ass, but they can't fill due to SSR. So Alex knows that it's SSR, and he can see all these, different market makers and, ECN routes. And he is saying, watch them fill. And, this is just another little informational piece. It's not like Alex is saying, oh, wow, I should be going short here, or I should be going long here, or I should be doing this, or I should be doing that. He's merely using the tape just for a little bit of extra information, using it with his levels. And I think that's really important to point out. So this is a trade of mine. I guess we're just going to jump right into the examples. So this is a trade of mine a while ago. It was in August, and, a lot of people... I got a lot of messages about this one. And the messages I got were, what'd you see at that 2.7 level, bro? What'd you see at that 2.8 level, bro? There must have been some type of big soaking. There must have been some type of, this. There must have been some type of that. Everyone has it in their head that, oh, there must have been some big signal here that told you it was going to go up this much when, no, there wasn't. There wasn't at all. I was just merely, I had a plan on this one. I had a plan that I was expecting this type of price action. And here, I'll show you right here, where, I had a plan on this stock. So instead of me just saying, all right, RKDA, no plan on it, just going to go out and wing it, baby. Who needs DD? Who needs all this stuff? Who needs any, and that was exactly not how I played it. How I actually played it in reality, this is one of my buddies, Jack Kellogg. We were kind of messaging back and forth that morning. I was also in MIC too. I just don't have the old screenshots for those old ones. So this is actually 8:21 market time. Where I in the time zone that I'm in, I'm actually an hour ahead of market time, which is actually pretty convenient. So yeah, I don't have my old like MIC screenshots where I'm kind of saying the same thing. But, I remember Jack messaged me that day and he's like, man, I think this is going to be the one because summer was kind of slow and, it was a really slow summer this summer. And when we saw this kind of low float, we were saying to ourselves, wow, this could be the one to really ignite the small cap world back up. This could be the one that could really light things back up. And so Instead of me saying, oh, I'm going to look for this signal on the tape or I'm going to look for that signal on the tape, I'm merely just going to draw my levels and make a plan on it. And that's exactly what I did. I had a plan on this. So I'm using the tape to confirm my plan down here. What I wanted was a strong push to 3.6 and a fade back. And he said down to 2.8s and comes back. Well, look where it ends up, 2.8s and kind of comes back. I used the tape merely just to show me that it was holding around the 2.7, 2.8 area. I wasn't looking for a big, signal. I wasn't looking for a big, I wasn't looking for a soak, as people call it. I wasn't looking for, if you see stuff like that, that can maybe add to the conviction, but I wasn't merely going out and saying, I'm looking for this signal, that signal, the other signal, right? Our plan was that, I wouldn't mind getting a strong opening drive and fade back down to 2.8s and comes back. So this is at 8:21 in the morning. So remember, this is at this type of time. So it's merely at this time, none of this had happened yet. And we were already, we had already made that type of plan on it. And that's really important, is that I wasn't going out and saying, RKDA, we're looking for this, and this. We're looking for a massive squeeze. None of us said that at all. We merely just used the tape here with our plan. So instead of people saying, oh, you must have had a signal on that one. You must have seen a soak. You must have seen this, 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 and this. No, I planned for this type of action to happen. I was looking for this consolidation action in the 2.8, 2.7 area. And that's why I bought down there. Because the tape was showing me that there was some type of support. The bids were stepping up. There wasn't a lot of, necessarily selling pressure. I was noticing that these dips were kind of getting bought up. They were holding, so all that type of information I was using to make this trade decision. But I wasn't merely using the tape here. I was using it in conjunction with a plan, and that's really important to state out on this trade. One of kind of the biggest trades of my summer was that I was not, using the tape for quote signals. I was using the tape in conjunction with my plan. Let's say there was no tape. Let's say all there was a chart. My tape's down. Boys, I got no tape today. I still would have probably made the exact same trades because this is what I planned for, guys. It wasn't, I'm going to say this a million times. It wasn't a signal. It wasn't a soak. It wasn't any of that. It was, just, those are all minor things. Like the soaking action, that's minor. The bid stepping up, that's kind of minor compared to, my plan. My plan was that I wanted to see it around the 2.8s, and I was just using it in conjunction with my plan, if that makes any sense. I know I've said this a million times, but I just want to get it through that in this particular example, that was my plan. That wasn't a random tape signal. That was just my plan. I wasn't going out and saying, we're looking for this type of action, we're looking for this type of action. I was just merely trading my plan in that particular one. Now we have another one. For some reason, I don't know where this chart went. It's kind of sad. I posted it in MIC and I couldn't find it again, so whatever. Anyway, this is a recent one, BLPH, and I just want to go over this one again. Because I think this one can be really informative for people to see how we're using it. Okay, so to the member that made the PDF of the messages, thank you so much. I know it's going to help a lot of people, and that was really nice of you. I've gone over this trade before in a prior video, but I think this trade, I've gone over this in like 3 videos, but I really think that you guys can learn a lot from this trade. Each video that I've made on this ticker, on this trade, it can give you such a telescope into my preparation, Aloha's preparation, even Joe's preparation. It can give you so much. So yeah, make sure that you study this one, because I wish that I had this information when I was starting out, and it can help you a lot. So let's dive into kind of the messages. So this is actually this time was 9:20, so it's none of this had happened yet. Remember, my time zone is an hour ahead for some reason, so at 9:20 p.m. That should not say p.m. That should say a.m. Maybe this is someone else's. Maybe this is someone else's time frame or whatever. But anyway, in the morning, I was saying, rather be too early than try and chase. Me and Joe were going to be patient for that type of zombie action, because me and Joe had kind of developed a plan just kind of on the fly in main chat, and we said, I don't want to go long up here on the 650. I think that's a bit too overextended, but I think what we could do and what we should do is that maybe, just maybe, we want to go long kind of in this 550 area. And I do go over kind of the lines I was looking at, why I was looking at these lines. Obviously, there is a little bit of support there, but I kind of go over a little bit, in these lines and why I picked them, also in the in my last video. So let's get back on track here. So it makes no sense to long up here. So anyway, that was kind of the morning. Now, as a kind of 20 minutes in, we noticed that this 6 level started rejecting right on the tape. So I said, 6 level rejecting, telling us it might needs lower, def seller at 6. Aloha's like, oh shit, Harry said it first. Sorry, I wasn't watching. So we have our first kind of clue. We know that the stock came down. We knew that there was a seller at 6. So, what are we purely saying? Wow, there's a seller at 6. Let's keep that information in our head. Doesn't mean we're going to slam the button short. Doesn't mean we're going to slam the button long. It just merely is a clue. We're just saying to ourselves, okay, there's a seller at 6. Good to know. I'm going to write that down in my book. I'm going to leave it there. My plan was that I wanted to see it fade, start consolidating, similar to my RKDA trades, similar to these type of, zombie trades. That's my plan. I want to see it kind of fade and kind of consolidate. I don't need to be longing into a massive green candle squeeze. I don't need to be, I'm just going to be patient. We know that there's a seller at 6. Good information to know. So now, as we kind of get into it, we were saying in this trade, I wasn't really, I was just merely saying, I'm just going to keep following my plan. My plan is that I want to see it zombie. That was just kind of my plan on it. You notice 10:30, for all you haters hating on the zombie rule. The one time it gets you, you get fucked. So just for some information. So anyway, yeah. So, Aloha's like, notice how that 6 information comes in handy. If I end up buying BLPH later, for example, I will remember the 6 wall. Exactly like I was saying. If 6 breaks stuffs, I'm going to be very hesitant to hold the position, So he's talking about, he's going to be looking. And, we see Alex chime in, and Alex is saying, guys, we also need to remember, like, we do have that information about 6, but we also need to remember that there is SSR on this stock. We also need to remember that it's an extremely low float stock. We also need to remember that it's an easy to borrow stock. So that can also filter into my plan, which then filters down with the tape. So it's not just me saying, I'm looking at 100 mil stock that's done, a mil or 2 volume. It's not anything like that. It's that we're using all these clues. We know that there's a 6 seller. We know that, our plan is that we want to go long, on a fade, some consolidation, and we can use that kind of as a support. He said, nice call on it, guys. This is what happens when a stock is easy to borrow. And he's completely right? This is what happens when shorts get trapped into that kind of consolidation. But if we're looking at this from a plan perspective, this was my plan in the very beginning. My plan in the very beginning was that I wanted a fade, I wanted a zombie, and I wanted a type of, some squeeze action. That was it. And, it's important to note that I was using the tape here in conjunction with my plan. And the tape, you can just see what the tape was doing based on the chart. It should have probably died here and gone under 550. It didn't. That's a big sign. We see the supporting. We see more supporting. And then we get this basing action under VWAP. And then we get a nice push up. But, I'm using it in conjunction with my plan. So I think that's very important. Like, this is an idea on the day where, I'm just, tape was like maybe like 5% of this actual trade. Because, even if, I would have taken this trade probably even if tape wasn't even showing me what I kind of quote wanted to see, which is I just want to see it basing on this type of area that I was looking for from the very beginning, right? I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not a stock predictor. The tape isn't gonna do it for me either. It's just I have a plan. I want to see it start to work. Once the plan's confirmed, it's going to go up. Like, the money, in my opinion, is in the planning. It's not in the tape reading. It's not in the, it is in the chart because the chart helps you make the plan. But it's not, a tape signal. Like, I didn't see, oh, you must have seen a big soak at 5.5 and a big, no, not really. I just saw that, this level was kind of holding, and that's why I took it. That was it. That was my plan from the very beginning. What happened, what I wanted to see before the market opened happened. And, it was great. So anyway, those are all the dips. And Aloha's like, yeah, Harry, feels so good to be able to discuss and talk long in the room. And I just said, I love how we all see the 6 seller, and we knew it wasn't ready yet. that's where we're just using a clue, right? We're just using a clue, and we're just paying attention, and and yeah, I'm just reading all the messages here. It's funny. And so I also said, notice how the sixth seller lines up with the sixth line, which is another thing to say, where we knew about the sixth line before prior also. And yeah, so that's just basically it. That's how I kind of used it there. That's how we kind of looked at it in this kind of trade example, where this is an example where I had this type of action planned out. I was hoping for this type of action. Had if it broke 5-5 there, I would have been probably stopped out. I would have said, all right, that's it. But just on a I guess, kind of serious note, like, it wasn't just all tape. It was, in conjunction with my plan. Had have I not had tape here, had have I just had the chart movements, I would have said, oh wow, look, I was looking for a fade, looking for some consolidation held, boom. That was my plan from the beginning. So, in my opinion, the money's in the planning, not in necessarily the quote tape reading, as a lot of experts like to say. I'm just kind of debunking this whole, oh well, if you must need to be able to read tape, if you're a consistent trader. It's like Bao says, the more you've been here, the more you kind of see how the tape moves with your plan. The longer you trade, the more experience you have, the more you're going to be able to pick up on little things. But it's not like I'm, going out and saying, all right, boys, whatever the tape says goes. I'm just gonna, because I probably would have gotten stuck here, probably gotten, So I think that's, very, very, very important to just kind of note and just pay attention to and, look at. I think it's just important. So yeah, different ways to use tape. I wanted to just throw this in here just to kind of, I've spent this whole time talking about how tape has been kind of, how I kind of use it with my plan and how, it's not the holy grail and how the money's in the planning. But if you want to see some of the stuff that I sometimes look for, this is key. And if you want to record your screen, you can always look for this type of action. If you are dead set on, recording your screen and looking at your screen, these are different ways that, I use it on a, these are things that I see every single week, as opposed to just, things happening, on a month-to-month basis. This is something that I see every single week. But, I think it's also important to note that all of these things are being used with my plan. So it's not like I'm just looking for these signals. So if my advice to recording your screen is that you may have seen what has happened. You may know the story already. But what you can do is make a plan on it. Is draw the lines that you would have drawn on it and be honest with yourself. And then look at, what happened at the lines that didn't work, what happened, with the lines that did. Because, when I started with my process, what I used to do is time myself. How quick can I do DD on a stock? How quick can I, go through FinVids? How quick can I go through BAM SEC? I don't use BAM SEC anymore, but, how quick can I go through? How quick can I find the story on a stock? And, that's something I also used to do too. So, just a little tip of something that I used to do, So anyway, different ways to use tape. Hidden sellers and buyers. That's pretty simple. You see someone showing 100, filling 1,000. Problem is that you'll see something like this not in conjunction with your plan. In no man's land. You'll say, holy shit, look what I just spotted. I've been looking for these for years. Or, whatever. Today's the day that I'm going to bank off a hidden buyer or seller. And you end up getting screwed because, it's not part of your plan. So, that doesn't work. But when they do work is when you're kind of using it with technical analysis. If you see a resistance level and kind of like a seller, that's something that you can kind of use tape with. But if you if that line isn't necessarily drawn, or if you're not paying attention to that level, you got to be honest with yourself and say, okay, this isn't a part of my plan. I'm not gonna change my plan because I see something. It's got to be something necessarily crazy. But I'm not gonna just go long at, or I'm not gonna go short or long, or something if I see if it doesn't follow my plan, is what I'm trying to say. Is that if it doesn't follow your plan, probably best not to manipulate your plan, because the problem is that you can look for these things, and maybe you find one and maybe you don't find one. Maybe your brain starts playing tricks on you. Oh my God, Harry! Like, did you just see what happened there? I gotta say, no, brain. I'm gonna wait for my plan. Volume analysis. This is one where you can see, um, we've seen a lot of that kind of trapping action where we get a lot of buying, a lot of buying. That's something where you can take note of and say, okay, I'm short in this position and I start to see a lot of buying, what's happening. Or I'm long in this position and we start to see a lot of selling, is this something that I should pay attention to? And, how much volume is being done at this level. So that's just something that you can kind of pay attention to, something that I use. Watching the bid and ask, are the bids stepping up a lot? Is the ask stepping down a lot? Something to pay attention to. Watching bid size for manipulation. You might, and this is another thing, is that you might your plan might be to sell or to cover at a certain level, and then all of a sudden you see this massive seller come in. Everyone gets scared. Everyone panics out and sells. You get scared too. You panic out and sell too. And then, only to see a minute later it ends up hitting your target. So just keep in mind that sometimes you can be manipulated with this stuff. Sometimes you are going to see a big bid push up into a seller, or a big ask push into a buyer, or they're going to try and scare people, catfish them, shake them out, whatever you want to call it. It's all manipulation. So just another thing, just if you see it, try and think from the standpoint of, oh, why would someone want to do this? I know a lot of you do anyway. I get messages about it all the time, but it's just something just to take note of. Watching for a soak, I talked about that before. I think people also get too caught up in this soaking action thing. It just kind of bothers me because people start to see it all the time, right? People start to see that type of action all the time. So, I wouldn't really pay attention to that one as much, because too much is, too heavy and doesn't work. So, I just put it up there for, kind of shits and giggles, but not something that I'd necessarily say is a holy grail signal. It's got to be in conjunction with a plan. Watching for a stuff move. I don't actually, well, if I'm long and I'm in a position and I see something stuff into a resistance level, I'll take it off right then. If I'm not long and I see a stuff move, I always message Alex in chat because Alex just loves those type of moves. And that's something that he has experience with. But if you notice, all his stuff moves are into, resistance levels. He's not just longing random, he's not just shorting into random stuff moves. He is just using it in conjunction with his lines. And I think this is something that, really needed to be said, is that, Alex isn't just going to, sit down for the day and say, all right, no lines drawn, no plan, let's go out and wing it, boys. You'll never see him do that. He's great. He posts watch lists. He talks about his process. He talks about why he does things. He talks about stuff moves. He talks about all this stuff. So it's really important that you pay attention to when he says it's a stuff move, because he's going to say, oh, I saw it into 3.9. Guys, I said the 3.9 line like 25 minutes ago. Remember when I said that? And people are going to say, oh, shit. Now I remember. So, it's just something to kind of be aware of. Acceleration, deceleration kind of goes into the stuff move, finding a bottom, finding a top, but it's not like I'm going to say, oh, with my plan, I need some deceleration with a soak, with some big size and manipulation, watching the bid and ask, if some volume analytics and a hidden buyer and a hidden seller. If I don't get any of that, I'm not taking the trade. Has nothing to kind of do with that, I'm just purely watching it for, these are all just something like I'm just using all these things just to collect information rather than making necessarily trade decisions off them. I'm just using it to collect information. You know, I'm kind of, it's kind of the end of this video, kind of wrapping it up now. But I think it's really important to just kind of reiterate that, have a plan, stick to your plan. If you see something on the tape that kind of confirms to your plan, that's good. That can just add more conviction to the trade. But you can't just be going in every day looking for all this type of stuff. It's more of a when you see it, take note of it type of thing. Or when you see it, add it to the conviction, add it, as another check in the checkbox. But, I think it's really important that, I just kind of went over some of this stuff too. And, we're always following our plans and we're always, developing a plan. Most of my consistent trading has been off consistent planning. And I think that's really important to note. So yeah, I hope that explains my mindset. The money is in the planning. Keep practicing. Record your screen and learn. And if you are new, it is the last thing, and this is supposed to say you should be worrying about. Oops, I guess it never saved or whatever, but it's the last thing that you should be worrying about. You know, I think the best traders, and I read this somewhere a while ago, they see something, but they have the ability to be patient and wait for their plan. They have the ability to see something. They have the ability to see, let's see you see a hidden seller and, it's in pre-market and your plan is at the market open. You're going to go short off this line or you're going to go long off this line, or you see a hidden buyer or a hidden seller, A lot of people can be tempted to just go in right away and think, oh well, oh my God, there's a hidden buyer here. Like I gotta get in. Like I might have FOMO and miss the move. But the best traders, in my opinion, just take note of it and they say, oh yeah, okay, all right, that's something to take note of. It's just like me and Aloha with that six seller. It's something that we took note of. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to take the trade because the trade ended up working and breaking six, right? But it's just something that I was aware of, that I knew about, that me and Aloha said, okay, we're going to take the trade at $5 or $5.50 or wherever the stock ends up, and when we get that consolidating action, we're gonna look to take it down there. But if six doesn't break, probably going to exit the trade, a little bit earlier because six is now a newer resistance point. Number one on the chart, we identified that obviously if it stopped at six and came back down, six on the chart is now resistance. So we know about that. What do we also know about now? Well, what we also know about now is that, what we also know is that if it goes to retest six and it doesn't work, then we're just going to say, well, I guess this one didn't work out, and that's it. And that's how we kind of used it that day, and it worked pretty well. So I was trying to give you guys a into my mindset that I don't take it that seriously. I do take it seriously, but I don't. It's just something that I just wanted to come out and give you guys some actual, real talk about how I kind of use it. You may see another trader that's like, I only use tape, that's my Bible. I just wanted to give you my 2 cents and, my reality and, how I view it. And, it's just something that, you always want to take note of, and you just want to just be calm, cool, and collected, and just always follow your plan, guys. That's my main message, is just always follow your plan. All these things are just real indicators for the most part. It's no different than a moving average or VWAP or, but it's when all the things add up that you kind of end up getting those best trades. And when everything starts to confirm with your plan, if my plan is to go long at 2.5, I'm not going to go long at 2.2 saying, oh, well, I'm just going to make a new one. Sometimes your plan's not going to happen, and you need to be okay with accepting that too. So anyway, I know that this has been kind of a 45-minute video. I didn't mean for it to be this long. I just kind of get really passionate about this subject because, it's something that I love and that, I always practice on, but I just wanted to come out and give some real talk. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day or night, wherever time zone, wherever you're from, and I'll see you guys later.